Breaking tonight, just 5 days out from Election Day, and we are seeing dramatic new shifts in polling, possibly putting Donald Trump closer to victory than ever before. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. All across the country, we are seeing signs that battleground states are tightening or even flipping in Trump's favor. It has happened as we watch an explosion of negative headlines concerning Hillary Clinton's emails and her Clinton Foundation. And we have produced an exclusive state-by-state look at just how big the shift has become for you this evening. In moments, we'll be joined by Professor Larry Sabato, who tonight is looking at whether Mrs. Clinton's lead is in fact collapsing. And then we'll be joined by Governor Mike Huckabee and former Clinton staffer Mo Elleithee with their take. But we begin the evening with Trace Gallagher reporting on our new battleground analysis from our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
And Megyn, let's begin in the critical battleground state of Florida, because for Donald Trump, winning Florida's 29 electoral votes is not a luxury, it is a necessity. On October 28th, the Real Clear Politics average of all polls in Florida had Hillary Clinton leading there by 0.7 of a point. Today, Donald Trump is leading by 0.3 of a point. Clearly, it remains a dead heat, but it's a full 1-point swing in the wrong direction for Hillary Clinton. Now to Ohio. On October 28th, before the Comey email announcement, Donald Trump was leading in Ohio by 1.5 points. Now Trump has expanded his lead to 3.3%. It's also interesting that Trump is polling nearly even with Hillary Clinton among women in Ohio, a demographic the Clinton campaign thought she would dominate. Last week, Hillary Clinton led in North Carolina by nearly 2.5 points. Today, the RCP average has it dead even, and it appears Republican holdouts in North Carolina are beginning to back Donald Trump. In Nevada, Hillary Clinton was leading by just over 1.5 points, but after a 3.5-point swing, Donald Trump now leads in Nevada by 2. And according to a new CNN Opinion Research Corporation poll, Trump's trustworthy numbers in Nevada are rising. Clinton's are falling. And let's finish in the battleground states where the numbers have swung the most, Arizona and New Hampshire. In both states, Hillary Clinton has lost about 4.5 points. She is still holding a small lead in New Hampshire, but has relinquished her lead in Arizona. The bottom line is that more than 60 electoral votes that appeared to be on Hillary's side of the table last week are now back in play. Megyn.
Trace, thank you. As we mentioned, Larry Sabato's electoral map has changed dramatically over the past 2 weeks, and he is now predicting a much tighter race. Larry's the director of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. Larry, good to see you. So that's the question we begin with. Is she collapsing? Is her lead collapsing? I got to be specific given what we saw on September 11th.
No, I don't think collapse is the right word at all. She has drifted down, but not by much. What really has changed is that Republicans have pushed Trump up. They finally come to his standard. They have been reluctant, at least a fair portion of them have been reluctant to support him. And now that they're faced with that binary choice, Clinton versus Trump, they're coming home to the Republican Party, even if they're not crazy about the nominee.
So where do you see her most vulnerable? Because last night in this program, we got late-breaking polls that showed New Hampshire, that showed Virginia and Colorado. We'll get to New Hampshire in a second, but Virginia and Colorado with major shifts. I mean, Virginia suddenly showed Trump up 3, I think it was, but Trump up and in Colorado as well.
That was one poll in Virginia, and I don't want to criticize a fellow academic institution, but that is not one of the gold standard polls in Virginia.
Okay.
Clinton is still up in Virginia. Well, you said it, not me, Megyn. But she's still up in Virginia. She's also still up in Colorado. Look, you always have to look at the dates that the interviewing was in the field. And in Colorado, in Virginia, and elsewhere, I've seen the dates coincide almost precisely with the bombshell from FBI Director James Comey. Mm-hmm. That pushed Clinton down for a bit. You recover, especially in a campaign like this where the subject changes daily, sometimes hourly. She hasn't come all the way back up. But she's come back enough so that she's stabilized
So
in a lot of these states.
You've seen evidence of Hillary recovering since last Friday's bombshell? Because we've had a lot of ongoing reporting on this.
Well, in some states, Megyn. Well, yeah, you've had a lot of ongoing reporting, but there's been reporting on lots of other issues. Now, it's made a difference in Ohio, which leans to Trump. It's made a difference in Iowa. Arizona is a perfect example of a state that has a lot of Republicans. Some of them were on the sidelines. Now they've come home. The state's leaning to Trump. But as Trace said, Florida is a total toss-up.
What about New Hampshire? We know everybody says Florida. We just don't know.
New Hampshire.
What about New Hampshire?
New Hampshire seems to have changed and tightened up. Is that really a surprise? Think about New Hampshire's record over the years. They seem to enjoy confounding pundits, for which they really should be severely punished, Megyn.
I detect just a note of bitterness there, Larry. Great to see you.
Yes. Thanks so much, Megyn.
Joining us now with more, Trump supporter, Fox News contributor, Governor Mike Huckabee, and founding executive director of Georgetown's Institute of Politics and former traveling press secretary to Clinton's 2008 campaign, Mo Elleithee. Great to see you both. So let me just ask you about that, Mo. I'm going to start with you first as the Democrat, whether you think Larry has it right that these Republicans are coming home and that the race is tightening, but it's not tightening so much that she's now losing.
Yeah, I think that is right. I think Trump had been struggling a little bit with Republicans. He wasn't hitting the proportion that past Republican nominees had gotten among Republican voters. That ship seems to be righting for him a little bit right now. But as we all know, that's not enough. And we haven't seen a collapse in Clinton support in any real way. We see Trump gaining ground. She's still doing very well in a lot of these states. I'm getting a little bit of whiplash these days just trying to keep up with all these state polls. And a lot of times we're getting 3 or 4 polls in the same state on the same day showing very different results.
Before I go to the governor, would you believe in these late polls? So close to Election Day.
Yeah, here's the real challenge, and we saw this in 2012 with these late battleground state polls. It is hard for them to take into account the impact of the early voting that's going on. And
is that a significant factor? Should we be paying attention to that?
I think we do need to. And you look in a state like Florida, where just in the last 24 hours, we have seen a huge surge in the black early vote. We've seen a huge surge in Broward County, a huge Democratic stronghold in the state. That makes a huge difference in a race that's as tight as Florida is right now. And the polls may not be picking up on that.
Governor, do you think, I said on the air last night, she's so glad that the election is November 8th instead of December 8th? It's like given the momentum that we're seeing here. But do you think, and what do you base it on, that Trump can get this done by November 8th? Because he doesn't have that extra month.
Megyn, he's going to get it done. I've said for months, and I believe it now more than ever, he's going to win the election. And part of what I base it on, look at the 2 candidates on the stump. He's the happy warrior. He's out there having fun. He's doing so many events a day, but he's having fun. Hillary is not having fun. I mean, the difference is this. You have Trump, who looks like the happy warrior. Hillary looks like the lady who didn't give anybody candy on Halloween, shut her door and turned her lights off. So your choice is the Trump or the Grump. And I'm telling you, Americans want to vote for somebody that looks like that they're going somewhere, not somebody who looks like they're sorry that they've been somewhere.
Okay, but
that's the difference.
The other thing we saw with Trump this week, it was yesterday, that I have to point out to you, he went after Marco Rubio and Christie, his surrogate, did for being a robot in the primary campaign. And we saw a moment of Donald Trump seeming a little programmed that she hit him on, where he was saying, what was it? Be steady, Donald. Stay calm, Donald. She reiterates it. Watch.
Now, he knows we can see and hear him, right? This is someone who at another rally yesterday actually said out loud to himself, stay on point, Donald, stay on point. His campaign probably put that in the teleprompter. Stay on point, Donald, stay on point. So is this someone we want to put in charge of our military?
Go ahead, Gov.
Donald Trump was making fun of himself. That's the indication of a guy who's out there having a good time. He's able to point fun at himself. Hillary, on the other hand, is under criminal investigation. No wonder she's nervous.
That would make you grumpy. What states are you going to be looking at, Governor? I mean, if you pick the top 3 that you are going to be focused on Tuesday night?
Certainly Florida, I think, but he's going to win Florida. The Panhandle will vote for Donald Trump 80% and help overcome some things on the I-4 corridor in South Florida. I think another state to watch is going to be North Carolina. Trump will win North Carolina, and I would give you a third one, Pennsylvania. Let me give you a little quick anecdote from North Carolina. A friend of mine was passing out voter guides at an early voting booth in North Carolina. People were lined up, and a Democrat was also passing out a Democrat version of a voter's guide, just where do the candidates stand on an issue. People were taking the Republican voting guide. Nobody was taking the Democrat guide. The Democrat worker came over to my friend who was running the Republican side and leaned over and said, gee, nobody is taking my voter guide, and I don't blame them. That was pretty powerful.
You better hope that's happening all over the country in every single state. Before I let you go, Mo, your top 3 states you're going to be watching on Tuesday.
I'm going to agree with the governor on 2 of them. I think North Carolina and Florida. The later into the night those go, and I think they're going to go pretty late, that could tell us a lot. I'm also looking out west at Nevada. There's very few scenarios right now where Donald Trump can win this without winning Nevada, and the Democratic turnout in Clark County, the home of Las Vegas, is coming in pretty high. Mm-hmm. So that could tell us a lot as well.
He's up 2. She was ahead. He's up 2 now, according to the latest polls in Nevada. Great to see you both.
Thanks, Megyn.
Breaking tonight with all this news coming out of the election and the investigation, we're told, into the Clinton Foundation, the House Oversight Committee today took steps on its own investigation. And Oversight Chairman Jason Chaffetz is next with some breaking news of his own. Plus, former FBI Assistant Director James Kallstrom has been taking heat after he stood up for the agents who want to investigate the foundation. He's here.
The FBI getting a black eye is not the agents. It's not the guys that work there and the girls that work there and the ladies that work there. You know, it's the people that run the organization for whatever reason did what they did.